Actually, this is very symbolic that the first panel is about agriculture, because for the last years, agrarian sphere of Ukraine was one of the leaders in Ukraine's economy, in Ukraine's GDP, and in foreign currency income in Ukraine. For the last years, a lot of work for preparing the agriculture sector for investments were done. A lot of deregulation initiatives. I will not take a lot of time describing everything. I just want to emphasize on two of them. The land market was launched, and the law on irrigation was implemented, which opens the huge opportunities for further investors for our future projects. Also, the war unfortunately showed the importance of Ukraine in the world food security, but also it showed the importance and capability of Ukraine in this sphere. So I will not make a lot of advertisement for the agrarian sphere, because I think everyone already knows about it. But frankly speaking, thanks for this event, because right here, right now, we will speak about concrete projects, concrete business projects with local partners, which is not like just presentation of some conception. It's like real projects which we can talk about, and we can talk about it in future. So I would like to present our panelists. First, we will have a short analysis of agrarian sphere, which will be presented by Oksana Tkachuk, from UkraineInvest. Then we will have short presentation of three panelists: Alex Kovalenko from EPIKUR, Yevhen Sadovy from Astarta, and Mikhailo Saltanovsky from Vershki Takorinci. Every project is very interesting, is about deep processing, and I would like to emphasize that sometimes the investment projects in agrarian sphere are not only about agriculture. Sometimes they are multi-sectoral. It's about energy efficiency, it's about even medicine. So I would like to pass the floor to Oksana.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. I would like to welcome all the participants of the conference, and on behalf of UkraineInvest team, to present you our sectoral research on agro-processing and food product sector. I will share my presentation. So Ukraine, for a long time, has been considered as one of the key countries for ensuring global security, of course, because of its stable agricultural sector. With the war, we have discovered the most vulnerable aspect of the agricultural sector of Ukraine, and it is the lack of logistic diversification. We think that one of the solutions to this problem could be processing of raw materials on the territory of Ukraine. Besides, higher added value will make a great contribution to the economic recovery. I will start with the key figures first, but probably many of you are familiar with them. Anyhow, it is very important to get the general overview. So let's start with an export and have a look at the export structure in comparison with peer countries. Ukrainian agriculture export is much under-diversified, and it is mostly rely on raw products such as cereals, almost 47% of the total export. Developed countries such as, for example, France and Austria have under 21% share of cereals in total export. At the same time, these countries have around 30% devoted to beverages products, considering their high added value. Our peer countries such as Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary are developing agricultural sector towards increasing share of dairy, fruits, vegetables, and meat products in their export structure. Though we are leading in terms of fats and oil products export, Ukrainian agricultural sector has large untapped potential, as we see in other crops processing in fruits and vegetables production, dairy industry, and meat products. Ukraine is number 1 in sunflower meal and sunflower oil export, number 3 in rapeseed and barley, number 4 in corn, number 5 in wheat, number 6 in honey, number 9 in sunflower, and number 10 in poultry. On the right-hand chart, you can observe negative dynamics of production this year, which is of course connected with the decrease of sown areas because of the war. The largest decrease is in sunflower seed and meal, about 46%, but we also have 9% increase in rapeseed production. Ukraine has 11% of agriculture share of GDP. On the one hand, it is good because the conditions of economic recession, in these conditions, the agricultural sector falls much less than other sectors. But on the other hand, that is quite big and also means that we need to increase agro-processing and manufacturing share. Our agriculture export was $28 billion in 2021, and we have 14 employed in agriculture, 15%. Now I would propose you to have a look at the opportunities of processing of some crops, and we will observe corn and soybean markets. Corn is the crop that is produced in Ukraine with the highest yield of tons produced per hectare. And despite reduction of tons produced this year, Ukraine remains one of the largest producers of corn in the world, with the 15% share. Almost 80% of the total corn produced is exported, and we have to change this. Average corn production in Ukraine has increased in several times during the last decade. And because of the higher harvested, first of all, as well as because of increasing efficiency through usage of land protection products and fertilizers. In marketing year 2022-23, Ukraine is forecast to be the world's 8th largest corn producer and the 4th largest exporter. That is the same as it was in 2021 and shows the stability of this production of this crop. Main markets for export were China and European Union, and it is about 30%. Other key destinations include Egypt, Iran, and Turkey. Because of the war, Ukraine will face 2 obstacles. First is logistics for export of corn, and the second is the lack of corn storage because of damaged elevators and warehouses. And these negative aspects could also lead to processing of corn on the territory of Ukraine. Currently, corn is used in Ukraine mostly as animal feed. It is almost 65% share, then like grain, and the smallest share is technical usage. In comparison to world usage, we have to make a transition to process corn and produce food. There are many options for processing corns that we suggest you to consider. These are food products such as cereals, snack foods, salad dressings, soft drink sweeteners, chewing gums, peanut butter, and others. Animal feeds also like distillers dried grain, gluten feed and meal, high oil feed corn for animals. Also, corn can be used like in industrial products like soaps, paints, corks, linoleum, rubber substitutes, wallboard, dry cell batteries, cosmetic powders, pharmaceuticals, and others. And fermentation products and byproducts can also be produced from corn, like industrial alcohols, fuel ethanol, recyclable plastics, and others. And now I suggest you to have a look at the soybean market. Despite the war, we have only 5% reduction in 2021-22 export volume. Under cultivation of soybean were 1.3 million hectares year in 2021, and average yield was 2.3 up to 3 tons per hectare. Ukrainian soybean are desired product on European market, and first of all, because of using less chemicals in its production. The main importers are European Union countries and Turkey, and potential growing markets are Netherlands, China, United Kingdom, and Romania. Main market opportunities lies in soybean processing for animal feed production that is highly demanding both agriculture, farming, and aquaculture. The other opportunities lay within the scope of increase of fruits and vegetable production in Ukraine. Imports and exports of fruits and berries are constantly growing and showing increase both in demand and in production. Ukraine exports mainly frozen fruits and berries yet. We also observe high increase of vegetables import, 27% for the last couple of years. And this statistic shows a necessity for developing quality, traceability of products productions, and usage of modern techniques. A key solution could be greenhouse farming. Shifting consumer preferences toward healthy life and organic products, as well as large domestic markets, should be considered as opportunities for greenhouse farmers. The year-round production of fresh vegetables is just taking shape, and demand far outstrips the supply. In 221, greenhouses produced 490,000 tons of vegetables, and these are able to satisfy demand only by 10-20%. A lot of areas of production, moderate production costs, relatively cheap labor, large domestic consumer market, all these allows Ukraine to compete with high-cost import production and open opportunities for investors to consider the Ukrainian market for investments in greenhouse production. I will not take a lot of time of your time before the presentations of the real projects you are very interested in, I believe. I have presented a brief statistics and only a few opportunities. Ukrainian agriculture processing market has a lot to suggest. Organic products, baby foods, beverages, bovine products, biofuel, etc. As well as there are quite a big number of niches in adjacent markets, like high increase in demand in production of fertilizers and plant protection products, agricultural machinery, IT solutions for agriculture, machinery for processing, logistics services and warehouses, etc. Meantime, there are a number of incentives and subsidies for investors in this area. The market has a lot of niches and opportunities to develop in, and it is just a subject to proper and timely usage of such opportunities. So we welcome you to address to UkraineInvest to assist you with choosing these opportunities and provide you with guidance and one-stop shop support. Thank you very much for attention.
Thank you, Oksana, for the interesting presentation. Actually, the numbers that you showed, they demonstrate that right now is the right time for investment, and agriculture is the right sphere for the result that you showed. So now we are moving to our projects. The first project, which is very interesting for me also, will be presented by Alex Kovalenko, Agro-Processing Industrial Park. Alex, the floor is yours.
Доброго дня.
Good morning. My presentation partially focuses on the challenges discussed today, namely insurance, processing instead of raw materials. And according to my observations, Ukraine and its neighbors are amidst tectonic changes. Actually, they should have happened earlier, as we discussed with Dmitro Kiselevsky, some changes should have been introduced in years ago. And within a couple of months after the onset of war, these changes have become the reality in terms of industrial parks and other changes. So the dialogue with the government is run on a new level now, and I hope this will persist after war. As a wise man said, we can cope with war, but we have to be ready to cope with peace afterwards. We cooperate with lots of teams, and the teams from the government, the team from the authorities. I would like to show my presentation because it's the product of many teams. This project is called the Agro-Food Tech Cluster, and the author is my partner, my colleague, Mr. Shestopalov. And before war, I participated on a limited basis in this project. But after war, this project got transformed, and now it's not just a developer project. For Boris and me, it's not a developer project, it's just a part of a developer project. It focuses on the community, on the cluster development and ecosystem creation, with the main topic of agri-processing. So the companies willing to participate in our industrial parks will benefit from being in Ukraine, from the synergy. On our slide, you see 3 first parks set up, and I will tell you more details. Next slide, please. This topic has been raised today, and as mentioned, Ukraine exports products which are equivalent to feeding 400 plus million people. That's for you to imagine the volumes. Next slide, please. We've discussed the risks. Next slide, please. We are not going to reiterate. New opportunities. We are able to produce the final product in Ukraine here, close to the source of raw materials. So we don't need to deliver the raw materials because thus the expenses are much higher given the logistics. So the logistic costs are much higher than the cost of the value added. However, against the background of the damaged logistic chains, we will be able to transport with high efficiency, provided that the production is close to the supply of the raw materials. And since lots of damages were inflicted to the facilities, we can construct them from scratch, and the new facilities will be economically and environmentally efficient. We joined the UNIDO memorandum. We are going to develop the biggest eco-focused industrial parks. Our parks are located in 3 regions. These were the first parks. We are going to start with the west. The raw materials are available there, and the logistic routes and the infrastructure are developed. We've talked a lot today about the maize processing. To this end, the most suitable cluster will be cluster in Ivano-Frankivsk corn cluster. At the same time, Vinnytsia is an incredibly innovative region. Their mayor is prone to innovations, and they make particular steps to make their region as innovative as possible. So our Vinnytsia park will be the first park we're going to construct, because all the conditions are in place. There is one more industrial park for refrigerating equipment. There is another park under construction at the moment. That's why Vinnytsia Park will be the first. Then the next park will be in Hrushev, Lviv region. It's close to the border, and as far as I know, the representatives of the Polish government visited Hrushev, this territory, and discussed the status of the area. And Hrushev is 6 kilometers away from the border with Poland, and there are all the conditions to develop the logistic complex. The Vinnytsia Industrial Park is supposed to occupy the territory of 45 hectares, and in Lviv area it's expected to be 40 hectares. However, there are opportunities to expand the area up to 200 hectares. We just want to do it step by step. Next slide, please. So actually you see VOLIA parks, the model of VOLIA parks here, and lots of tax and customs incentives and privileges were introduced this year, in July this year. Zero customs duties for import of equipment, for instance, and it's not the end of the story. So the government is not going to stop there, and will make more offers for business. Next slide, please. That's Vinnytsia Park with the area of 35 hectares and 170,000 square meters of general area. The industrial premises area will make 76,000 square meters, and nearly 20,000 square meters will be occupied by warehouses. The total budget is near 70 million USD. That's a mix of our own investments and state support and external investments. The return on investment period, the payback period is from 7 to 10 years. Everything depends on the amount of investment and the state support, as well as the support we receive through the state facilitation. Next slide, please. Who might be the target audience? I believe these are companies that have their sales markets. So participation in our industrial parks will be an efficient component of their business. For instance, Nestle in Kharkiv in Ukraine is the most efficient Nestle production, Nestle facility in Europe. Since Ukraine has introduced lots of privileges for investors, the participation in the industrial park will become for investors even more attractive. So the companies that focus on sales rather than development of sales markets will be quite efficient for these companies, and you can use the premises, your own premises that you can construct, or you can place an order with us, and we will allocate the area for your premises. Then such participation can be interesting for Ukrainian companies that produce, for instance, raw materials. They may have some experience of working in Ukraine, and they would like to scale up their production. So we can become your Ukrainian partner, or we can select partners among Ukrainian companies with a good reputation. Together with UkraineInvest, we can do it for you. And the third option, in case you are not planning to construct production facilities here, yet you're interested in exports, we can develop the manufacturing plants here. You can provide the technologies, or we can offer our technologies. We cooperate with multiple centers from the Great Britain, for instance. We are going to have a meeting tomorrow, and we can involve R&D achievements based on your order, based on the contract with you, because the main challenge for Ukraine is sales markets. And once we've got the partnership with the foreign partners having their sales markets, then Ukrainian side can ensure the local production. This will be a good synergy. This is the management team, project management team. The project was initiated by Boris Shestopalov. You see him on the left. He's got great experience in manufacturing various products, including high-tech food products, and we wanted to make food tech Singapore or food tech Israel out of Ukraine. My picture is number 2. I have experience in creating products with value added, products with the use of antibiotics or growth hormones. Then Andriy Dligach, he's our strategist and futurologist. We are practitioners, Boris and I, but Andriy Dligach allows us to look out of the box. And here is also Valery Kirilko, director. And here you see the companies or the partners interested in the project. They provide support in this or that form. We've got either signed memoranda with them, or they demonstrate their interest. We've signed the memorandum with UNIDO or UMG Investments. They would like to be first investors, and here you see the list of some ministries and agencies interested in this project. Next slide, please. Next. This has been mentioned by previous speakers. And here you see my contacts. Contact me via Facebook or LinkedIn, or you may scan this QR code, or you may ask the host to provide more information about us. And once he reaches, please let us know what are your expectations and your desires, so that we could offer the best option for you, because we are talking about the cluster, about the ecosystem, and if you are willing to start the production, we would allocate the best land plot, and the area will meet your expectations in terms of logistics, for instance. Let me also remind you that the projects may, of course, have some disadvantages. You invest money into some country, but then this money can be wasted because the country doesn't develop. However, in case of Ukraine, the money won't be wasted by no means, because the projects will thrive, and Ukrainian development will be beneficial for the entire world, as the war has proved. Thank you very much, and I will be glad to tell you more about the project.
Actually, yeah, the war showed the importance of infrastructure and logistic projects and created a huge demand on it on our market. So, and we are moving to the next project. I will give the floor to Evgeny Sadovy.
Дякую, пане Денис.
Thank you, Denis.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to, well, actually, I'm operations lead for a company called Astarta, which currently employed more than 6,000 employees, and have experience in managing projects in farming, storage, processing of agricultural products. And here I am to tell another great story of our project, which we want to execute in the nearest time. This project is about Soy Protein Concentrate with a total investment of around $62 million. Is a payback of close to 9 years, and all of these figures actually adjusted to current reality when we all understand that the prices went up. And the timing for the project is 2 years implementation. Brief description what this project is about. In 2014, I started with operation big processing plant in Globin with a current processing capacity close to 210,000 tons of soybeans. As a result, we received 1,000 tons of soybean meals and 40,000 tons of oil. Currently, the plant produces high-protein toasted meal, soybean, and granulated shell. The new project is in a category of deeper processing of agricultural product, which based on a soybean meal currently produced by our existing operation. This is a new innovative technology. And company, we are working with best practices available in the industry in order to provide the best quality products for our potential clients. What are the advantages of this specific project? Basically, as already mentioned by a number of speakers in this panel, we are moving from raw materials production to value-added products. And advanced soybean processing is one of the promising areas for the development of the domestic processing center. First of all, I would like to emphasize that all of the soybeans that are produced in Ukraine are non-GMO, with high demand on the European market. The product which we are going to produce is going to be used for the markets outside of Ukraine in aquaculture and animal nutrition. Another advances of the project that we will provide financing for the farmers. The project have multiple benefits from sustainability perspective. It's better for European fish farming, as SPC replaced fish meal made for wild fish, which is going to be more efficient. And also there is kind of interesting connection and synergy between the existing operation, because we already operate our existing plant we have our biogas facility. So adding another part in this chain will have an enclosed cycle when we have a product growing on the field, process on our crush plant, then production of the SPC, and also we'll have our biogas facility as a part of it. So it's kind of a enclosed circle. Also, last but not least, we will have new job opportunities and support community for social development.
I cannot see your presentation. Could you please share it?
You cannot see the presentation. How about that? Can you see it now?
Not yet.
No.
Just 1 second. Something.
Now it works.
Thank you so much. And brief market overview. The product is aimed, as I already mentioned, export to EU and Scandinavian market, because basically the largest producers of feed for aquaculture and agricultural animals are located there. And we see that there is a high demand for this type of product, and we're all aware of environmental issue in connection with Brazilian soybean production at Amazon River. So basically that's a healthy alternative to what's already available on the market with a high demand. So feed SPC demand is growing due to increase of aquaculture production using manufactured feed, industrial fish feed production, and share of vegetable proteins in the feed structure. Our potential customers are fish farmers as the main consumers, and we see that demand from this sector is from 3 to 27%. Other is poultry, piglet, pet feed, milk substitutes, and others. And what is important to mention that feed SPC product is unique for Ukraine and hasn't been produced before. Also, our expectation that it might also boom another part of our agricultural sectors, increase in production in the fish, so which is kind of expected. A little bit about our company. We are among Ukrainian top agricultural companies with a total of 220,000 hectares of leased land. Our total production is close to 1 million tons of grain of different commodities, which are corn, wheat, sunflower, soybeans. We are the biggest producer of sugar so far in the country, with more than 1.5 million tons of sugar beet harvested last year. Our revenues are around 185 million euros. We operate 7 grain storage silos with a total capacity more than 562,000 metric tons. We basically begin a transport logistic, and we have more than 200 own rail cars. As already mentioned, 22% of Ukrainian sugar market belongs to our startup. And our sugar plants are producing, depending on the year, between 200,000 and 500,000 tons of sugar. We successfully operate bioenergy plant in Globino, and our revenues in sugar are more than $170 million. On the soybeans, basically, which is a part of our actual portfolio, we are 13% of local soybean processing volumes. Our soybean processing plant, which I already mentioned earlier, is close to 230,000 tons of annual capacity, and with a revenue of close to 900 million euros. On a cattle farming, we are largest industrial meat producer with more than 22,000 cows, which resulted in 97 metric tons of 1,000 metric tons of milk production in 2021. Company is created in operation since 1993, and as I already mentioned, we are Next year, we are going to celebrate our 30 years in business. The company owned by Viktor Petrovich Tkachuk, who is a founder and CEO of the company. Also, the key managers are presented on this slide. Saying all that, I would like to thank you very much for all your time, and hope there are great opportunities with our project and with others in Ukraine. And, thank you very much again, and Slava Ukraine.
Thanks, Evgeny. Heroyam Slava. Actually, Ukraine is a country with unlimited possibilities for food processing, for agricultural processing, and together with reliable partner, I'm sure it can be a successful story. It will be a successful story. Now we are moving to the next speaker, Mikhail Soltanovsky, for presenting his project.
Good afternoon. Can you see me? Yes, we can see you. Okay, my presentation. I hope you can see it. Our company is called Vershki-Takorinci. We have a small greenhouse, 2,000 square meters. We work in Novypetrivtsi village near Kyiv, and we grow salad greens using hydroponics method, using a system which is called moving gutter system. All the potential today, the capacity has been exhausted, and we need to increase our capacities of our greenhouse in order to be able to continue meeting the demand that we had. The idea behind the project is to build a greenhouse consisting of 16,000 square meters, almost 1.6 hectares here in Novypetrivtsi. The amount of investments that we need for this is $8.4 million. The key part of this is accounts for equipment for greenhouses, so these tables for growing salad greens, and artificial lighting. We grow salad greens all year long, and we bring it to different networks of supermarkets in Kiev, Novus, Mega Market. Recently, we have signed a contract with Fora, chain of supermarkets, but we also have the capacity to potentially supply it to Metro, Silpo, ATB, supermarkets, but we cannot grow the amount that they need. There is a lack of capacity. This is exactly the idea behind increasing the territory of our greenhouse in order to meet the demand that exists. Our advantages are our location close to Kyiv, 20 kilometers from the center of Kyiv. It is very close, and we have low expenses on logistics in comparison to those companies that have greenhouses all over Ukraine. We have an agglomeration nearby for 5-6 million of population, and we are located almost in the middle of this agglomeration. So I have already told you about the idea behind our project, and our idea is to build 1.6 hectares of new area. Advantages of our project is that we can increase sales volume, and that is why we will decrease logistics expenses when we will supply more salad greens. So the gross margin rate is planned to be higher than what we have today. Our potential clients are organized systems, chains of supermarkets. We can also work with different product markets. Right now, we only work with 2 or 3 supermarket chains, Supermarket Fora and Novus, and we grow products only for them. We don't have the capacity right now to supply our salads to other supermarkets, or maybe even supply our products to governmental organizations or other networks. Our capacity is exhausted and we want to increase it, of course. As I have already told you, my name is Mikhailo Saltanovsky. I'm the director of this company and co-founder. We also have 2 physical persons as co-founders. They also take part in other businesses. They have a lot of experience, a quite successful experience of developing their own business. Some of them are leaders in their segment. You can see my contacts on the screen in this presentation. If you're potentially interested in developing this greenhouse direction, I'll be happy to talk to you, to meet you online, offline, and to answer all your additional questions through email. We have a financial model. I have a bigger presentation which explains all the aspects for our investors. We have prepared it 1 year ago. We sent it to potential partners, our strategic partners, investment funds. We made a newsletter for the European Union, but back then, because of COVID and uncertainty in terms of the war, there was no real interest. That is why potential investors saw it as high-risk investments into Ukraine. Thanks to international support, the situation has changed, and there is an increased interest in developing different projects in Ukraine. So I hope it will be useful, and we hope that people will reach us. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
Actually, the development of greenhouses is one of the priorities for the government. We already created some preferences for greenhouses development in Ukraine. And I would repeat, together with the right, reliable local partner, it will be a successful story. So that was all the presentations, the presentation of projects that we wanted to show you today. But I would like to emphasize that it is not all the projects that we have. The list of investment projects is much more, and we, together with UkraineInvest, we are ready to be your let's say so investment nanny in these questions. So if you are interested in agriculture, in investment in agriculture Ukraine, I want to repeat once more, it is the right time to do that, especially after the international partners already proclaimed the support, the possibilities in insurance from war risks, the possibilities for credits, and so on. So, colleagues, thanks for attention. It was the last presentation from this panel.